Thanks, Shannon, and hi, everybody. Mike Joy with Tony Stewart and Clint Boyer. Two of the three of us have dirt track experience and lots of it. But you think those folks are cold? No, they're waiting to be excited by 4, we hope, thrilling heat races. Now, everybody qualifies for tomorrow night's Food City Dirt Race, but this will set the field. Now, this takes some drivers completely out of their comfort zone, and other drivers have had this date circled on their calendar, well, ever since last year. So, just starting on the pole and winning this heat race, well, that's not going to do it, is it?
Well, hey, no practice, no nothing on this racetrack. All these guys are starting right off the bat here, not one single lap turn, so that's going to be interesting. Heat races, I love the heat race atmosphere, that aspect of it. That's common to a dirt race, so I love that we implemented that for the Cup Series. A lot of pressure on these guys. Just because you win, Tony, that heat race with these passing points doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, you literally could start on the tail of your heat race and outpoint the guy that starts on the pole and wins the race. So the passing points are awesome. I'm glad NASCAR went to this format. This is a true dirt format. This is excitement at its finest. It doesn't matter where these guys are running in these heat races. They know they're going to make the race. But because of the passing points, every one of these positions matter today.
Well, let's have a look at the format for tonight. Random draw, a real random draw, determine the starting order. 4 qualifying heats, 15 laps, and you accumulate points for finishing position from 10 on down for first, and points for each car that you pass. You cannot lose points for being passed, but your point total will determine the starting lineup for tomorrow night. All right, let's check in on pit road with our almost soon-to-be birthday girl, Jamie Little.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, it's a big weekend, Easter weekend. Happy Easter to all of you watching at home. And Chase Briscoe came so close to winning this race a year ago, last corner on the last lap. But that's not the big story. I walked up and noticed your left hand is all wrapped up. What happened, and how will that impact you here?
Yeah, Thursday night at Larson's late model race, just got in the wall and broke my finger kind of from the knuckle all the way to the end of my finger. So not ideal, definitely. It's really, really painful, but we kind of made this deal with the doctor, a stent or a splint that kind of makes it where, honestly, I was surprised how easily I could run in the truck heat race. So I was definitely way more nervous before the truck heat than I am now. I felt like there in the truck heat, I was my normal self. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be painful tonight and painful after the race tomorrow night, but in the car, it kind of feels fine. You know, adrenaline kind of takes over. So yeah, I'm definitely way more excited now than I was before the truck heat race. Just I was definitely kind of panicking with just the amount of pain I was in. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have surgery first thing Monday, and yeah, be 6 to 8 weeks with this thing on. But yeah, we'll be fine.
Adrenaline helps everything. Go out and win it, right?
Yeah, for sure on that.
All right, that's Chase Briscoe. Regan?
Well, Jamie, the talk of passing points, I looked at the sheet starting first in heat race number 2 is going to be Ryan Blaney. A little bit of bad luck with that draw. What does that mean you have to do in the heat race now?
Yeah, it's crazy. Bad luck starting on the pole. That's weird. Yeah, I mean, just try to win it, right? I mean, that's the best we can do. It's nice to start on the pole, you know, in some ways, kind of get some clean track, get some, hopefully, clean laps by yourself. But, yeah, the biggest thing is just trying to see how you fire off into one, hope you get a good start, and then, you know, adjust your driving style for how tacky it is. It looks like it has a lot of grip out there. So we'll see. Really cool to have Menards and Maytag on this Ford Mustang. And like I said, that's like the only time I'm mad about starting on the pole. I'm not mad. I just wish I would start like 6, but we'll try to make the most of it.
All right, good luck, Ryan. Thanks.
This is kind of fun. We're at a dirt track, so we have washing machine and laundry soap sponsors tonight. How about that? And we have some real dirt track veterans to entertain you. Heavy rains canceled everything yesterday, but now we're ready to go. Ready for green flag for heat number 1.
Seatbelt with a big run on the outside. So it's pack
4 wide.
Absolutely. How about that? Don't get too high. Huge opportunity for Christopher Bell right here. This could be a shot at the pole, Tony.
Yeah, he knew exactly where he was going to go before they even dropped the green flag. We saw him when he did his warm-up. He was already looking at the top. They just worked it before this first heat race, so it's fresh up there. It's got a lot of grip, but it is the long way around.
Comes a crossover. Going back to the bottom. See that Reddick coming too.
3 wide for the lead.
Got to his outside. Used Stenhouse as a pick.
Austin did a really good job threading the needle there.
Oh, Stenhouse got up on one of those dirtles on the bottom. Really upset his car.
I tried to flip middle. He's not there.
Reddick. Extremely fast through this middle. Heard Austin Dillon shift right there, Tony.
Yeah, and we heard that with Chase Briscoe last year. We were like, did we really hear that? But it actually works here. As the track gets slicker, you may not want to do it as much.
Ross Chastain in 8th.
Van Bell, that outside was his savior in the first lap, but not so much anymore. Struggling to make hay on the bottom. Oh, Barry around. That's just a little bit too much throttle like we were talking about. That's all it takes. Seems like these things, you know, you can run it sideways, caution out. You can run those things sideways, but once it gets to a point, you can't bring it back.
Just a little unburnt gas in the pipe there from that car spinning around. Here's a look at it.
Kind of felt the heat, Tony, it seemed like, from Bell. Got close to him, drove it off in the corner a little bit harder.
He did. He rifled it off in there. I mean, you look how much ground he gains on Alex Bowman there in front of him.
Little bit too much. No harm, no foul. Little learning.
And that's the great thing about these heat races. It gives these guys the opportunity in traffic around each other to try things, to gauge what they're doing in the car off of each other, around each other.
Look how soft those tires are.
All right, here's what Josh Berry and team had to say about that.
Actually felt really good. I just got into sideways and I couldn't steer enough to the right to straighten it out.
Yeah, 10-4. I mean, this is the place to learn the limit, so good job.
That's another aspect of these cars. They don't turn. You know, the only time, Tony, you and I actually drove at Bowman Gray is the only time I've ever been in one of these cars, and I was surprised how much, how little they turn.
All right, here's something new. The Choose drone is floating over the racetrack.
Hard to paint stripes on it on a dirt track.
On the track and have them stay. So they have a drone right over the racetrack. We have a camera on it. I mean, we're opportunists. Why not? So there is the Choose. Some guy with a rope to pull the cone doesn't have a job tonight. Sorry, but he gets to operate the drone, so I guess fair is fair.
Well, it's 2023. I mean, we got to get away from a rope finally.
I never would have thought I saw a drone holding a Choose cone.
But there you have it. 5 laps complete.
Watching his second row, it's going to be interesting. Bell, obviously, on the bottom with Reddick on the outside. Both of those cars are extremely fast. That front row is going to have to get going here. Pressure's on.
So Austin Dillon, the leader, chooses the outside. Tyler Reddick chooses the outside behind him. That moves Bowman up to the front row on the inside with Christopher Bell.
So what's cool, you see all those drivers, everybody, all the teams are focused, laser focused on this racetrack, how these cars are making gains, how they're passing, how they're losing, right? A lot of learning to be done on a track that's ever changing.
All right, pace car will head for home. 10 laps to go, heat 1.
Huge jump for Austin Dillon. Look at that outside line. Reddick following suit.
I mentioned that when the pace slows down that we may not hear those guys shifting, and in all reality it may even make them want to shift even more because the RPMs will be lower if the track slows down, and then they're going to need that 4th gear instead.
Well, again, all these teams go back. Look at this little crossover move from Bell. all these
Still there. Outside.
all these teams, went back and watched, and one of the best cars that we had was Chase Briscoe last year, and was certainly shifting every lap. Only using 4th gear, no 5th gear this week. Just when they're downshifting down to 3rd, back to 4th, it's kind of your drive gear.
This racetrack is in fantastic shape.
And I mean, a monsoon for hours upon hours yesterday. A little bit soft getting into to 3. They worked on that between the trucks and this Cup heat races, and even it's getting dialed in.
Still there. Still there. Barely hit your bumper.
Top to bottom, great traction all the way around. Bell actually makes a pass on the bottom.
Austin Haley looked like he was going to try to pull a slider. I just don't think he had enough momentum to clear the nose of the one car and get all the way up in front of him.
6th place battle there. Chastain in 7th. You're riding with him.
Haley's got quite a bit of dirt racing experience, races some modifieds down in Volusia, watched him a little bit in those, and that's why you see him moving around. Look at this, pass for the lead. Reddick from 6th. A lot of passing points here, guys. Austin Dillon battling back with a crossover, gonna slide him back up. That's what dirt racing's all about right here. Back over another crossover, side by side. Awesome, Tony.
Be 2 to go this time. Yeah, this is the kind of racing we came to see.
Very important if you're going to make a slide, do it like Reddick just did. Don't let that car get out from underneath of you. Slid in there, kept it on all 4s. That 45 car is extremely strong.
What I see that he's able to do is get to the center of the corner and get the back pivoted around, but he gets the tire caught up and gets a big drive off the bottom.
Great move by Austin Dillon, holding strong. Got past, learned from it, crossing back over.
Bell is closing, but he may run out of time here. Final lap. Austin Dillon from 5th to 1st. Wins heat number 1.
Man.
Bell from 8th to 3rd. Reddick from 6th to 2nd. A lot of passing points for Christopher Bell.
I don't know about you, bud, but this is one of the few times in the last 6 years of my life that I've actually really wanted to be in one of these race cars again.
Looks so fun. How about that? Passing points. You think they make a difference, boys? Christopher Bell, like I said, 8th to 3rd there, 13 points tied with Tyler Reddick.
A lot of action there for all the practice they had, which was none. Here are some of the drivers that will be in heat number 2 next.
He's not going anywhere. He's going to stay right there on the outside where he's at. Big time jump for Blaney on the inside, though. Didn't see that coming. Blaney needs to get up. There he goes. Might see a crossover. Blaney doing some good block and making that car wide.
Byron to 4th. Behind Burton and looking for 3rd.
Gilliland's already picked up 2 spots from the back already.
Got to remember, no practice, no nothing. First laps on the racetrack for some of these guys. A.J. Allmendinger right there. He may be first races ever on dirt, first laps. I think old Larry was right, boys. Todd Gilliland means business. Getting up through the field and passing points. They're going to mean something. You're going to see it at the end of this heat race. He keeps this up.
Something to remember about Ryan Blaney. He comes from a history of dirt racers. His grandfather, Lou Blaney, modified star and champion. His father, Dave Blaney, sprint car World of Outlaw champion. His uncle, Dale Blaney, All-Star Circuit of Champions champion. So these guys know dirt racing inside and out, and Ryan has been there the entire ride to see it all.
Saw an adjustment they made there by Briscoe. Byron started catching him. He moved down to make that block in 1 and 2. Still running the outside in 3 and 4.
Boy, Blaney's got a really good drive off. Well, Briscoe really has to send it in.
You know, Briscoe keeps his car pretty straight around there. Watching this race back from last year, I thought that's one of his strong suits. He was able to turn and rotate around better than most, straighter than most. Kept a lot of grip in those tires. Almost won this baby.
Something we just saw in that last lap. You see him in 1 and 2 going to the bottom of the racetrack. You see him in turns 3 and 4 going to the top of the racetrack. It's not uncommon in dirt racing to see him split the track like that. You see on pavement a lot of times if they move to the top or they move to the bottom, that's where they pretty much run the entire lap. On dirt racing, the ends can be drastically different. The drive and the grip can be different, so you will see him move around from end to end.
When they start running the bottom, one thing I did notice, that track starts blowing. It's blowing some dust out on that outside of the racetrack, and when it does that, dirties up that outside, kind of like marbles underneath your tires start to lose grip. You see Briscoe get to the outside, trying to find some real estate to get around this 12.
Briscoe appears faster through the corner, drives it in straight as Blaney angles it, but look at the drive off Blaney has. That's superb right there.
And it's because he keeps the car straight. At the part where you really want the car to accelerate and go down the straightaway, it's important that you don't have the back of the car swung out. You need to swing it to get the nose pointed where you want to go, but get it caught up and then get the drive.
It's fantastic you said that too, spot on. Watch that 12 car be sideways. He gets that thing bent pretty good, and as soon as he gets that thing straight, throttle down, keeps both of those tires. There it is, boom, throttle down and takes off from him.
He's got to do it for 4 more laps.
You get in here, get the thing bent, see quite a bit more sideways than the rest of them. Watch this straight drive up off. Boom, there it goes.
As soon as it gets that right rear tire caught up, he's got really good forward drive.
Doesn't have quite the drive off he had in the first 10 laps of this heat.
Look at this. That block enabled the 24 to get on the side of Briscoe. Can he hold him down here? Can't get the car rotated up there. Door to door. And this would be huge for Byron. Sorry, this would be huge for Byron to get this pass completed. He started 5th. Quite a bit of passing points for him.
But when he takes that high line, as you said, the top of turns 1 and 2 were really dusty. Couldn't gain any ground there. Coming to 1 to go.
Got him looking in the mirror. Got under him. This could be it. It's where he wanted to be, Tony.
But this is the end that Chase has been historically running the top and seems to pay off. He just struggles at the bottom of 1 and 2 where he's running right here, and they switch. Byron goes to the top, Chase goes to the bottom.
Into 3 for the final time. Briscoe up top, Byron trying to come to the bottom, and Ryan Blaney is going to wire heat number 2, green to checker. Over Chase Briscoe, William Byron, Harrison Burton, and Eric Almirola. With Gilliland 6th, Allmendinger 7th, Hamlin 8th, and Noah Gragson. Didn't see that coming.
No.
Fine job.
Did what he needed to do, though. That's if you're going to start on the pole with these passing points in that scenario, being alive, you have to make sure if you start up front, you better finish there.
And we never talk about this anywhere but here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's never a time when a guy's not happy to start on the pole, but when the passing points are involved, if you have confidence and you've got a car that can maneuver around the racetrack and you can run multiple grooves, you want those passing points. You want to start in the back.
Coming up in heat number 3. So here's the lineup for heat 3. Eric Jones with Corey LaJoie. Again, random draw to set the heat starting lineups. Ty Dillon, Matt Crafton substituting for Cody Ware. Ryan Preece and Kyle Larson, Chris Buescher, Michael McDowell, and J.J. Yaley.
Keep an eye on Ty.
Spinner in turn 2. That's Dillon.
I was literally just fixing to say, keep an eye on Ty Dillon. He'll be pretty fast in his heat race. Always impressive.
You were thinking for a whole different reason.
Yes. That did not go well, Ty. But you got it out of the way. This is just a practice lap. A little hot lap, if you will. No harm, no foul. Whew, that one about bit me.
It's all right. Take a deep breath. I haven't thrown the green yet.
I'm going back to Kyle. Keep an eye on this car right here. He will be impressive. Speaking of impressive, Thursday night at his own race, slide jobs. You heard us talking about slide jobs? Slide job city, back and forth, him and JD. Shows up, Tony, this reminds me of you. Shows up against the best in the business, gets that crowd on their feet, throwing haymakers, and I mean puts on a show for those fans. What a race for Kyle. Pretty impressive.
And we're going to see Jonathan Davenport as well, but it reminds me of Jonathan Davenport and Kyle Larson in dirt late models here in the super late models. They were the class of the field, just like they were at Bulls Gap this week.
Unbelievable. You're the only other guy I've ever seen show up and just smoke people like you've been doing it forever. Step in just like that kid did. Pretty impressive.
And you can bet everybody in the field that's not in a car right now is going to be watching this heat race and watching where he runs and how he does it.
Look how low that air pressure is. This is going to be interesting. Track might be getting a little bit one line around the bottom. We were talking about that, starting to blow some, some dirt up on the outside. That makes it hard to pass on that outside. Preferred line for sure is around the bottom right now. Eric Jones, car's mean looking.
Yeah, it is.
Because of that line situation we were talking about, I think you have to pounce on it quick, Tony. Track's going to be, too wide. You're rolling around there, kind of packing that back in a little bit. I think if you're going to be on that outside, you're going to have to get it done quick.
And I agree. Like you're saying, you're seeing it. We're all seeing the light dust from the inside that's blowing across. And it's no different than when you see snow blowing. If you live in an area where you just have that real dry snow that blows across, it's the same thing, but it does take some of the grip away. But if everybody's having the same mindset and thinks about bailing down to the bottom all at once, then it gets choked up down there. A guy that does like Christopher Bell did at the start of his heat race and just sends that thing in and has open racetrack, you just rifle around there.
So they've had a little issue here with some of the track signage due to contact. Some of those adhesive wraps, didn't want to adhere to the concrete. This one earlier came apart in a big way up toward turn number 3. When that gets hit, smithereens.
And it just comes off.
Earlier you talked about the Blaneys. I'm anxious to see what J.J. Yaley can do in this heat. He's starting last. Great opportunity for passing points. Triple USAC champion. Midgets, sprint cars, big cars. And his dad, Cactus Jack Yaley, was a great open-wheel dirt track racer.
How could you have a name like that not be great? That is awesome.
Exactly.
Cactus Jack.
And JJ won all 3 of those championships in the same season in USAC.
Correct. Yes. Quite a feat.
The famed USAC Triple Crown.
You don't know anything about that, do you?
Maybe a little.
Eric Jones in what is a beautiful black and gold car right now. A very, very pristine looking. Got that old John Player special look to it. Mario Andretti World Championship style. Sharp. We'll see for how long. Corey LaJoie outside. Ty Dillon. Matt Crafton in the 51. Priest, Larson, Busher, McDowell, and Yaley. Here we go.
Here comes Larson on that outside, just like we were talking about. Huge. How about that? Got it done in the first corner. To the lead in the first lap, Tony.
Well, I think when we were watching the cars come out, we were sitting there before we came back on air talking about it. We didn't think it was going to be a matter of if he was going to get to the lead. It was a matter of what lap. But I don't think any of us
it's going to be the first corner, though.
No, none of us took lap 1.
Exactly.
Larson did.
But the line that got him, the money line that got him to the front, got right off of it after 1 lap.
That's exactly right, and that's what we were talking about. I think that's short-lived. Kind of pack it in, going around there too wide in a parade lap.
Yaley's picked up 3 spots running the cushion at both ends of the racetrack.
He sure is, and right on the cushion. Look at the momentum gained. It's going to be huge for him, filling in. That's awesome.
Yaley to 4th from 9th in the 15.
I don't think he's done yet.
No.
Priest to 2nd.
I'm really surprised he didn't get those guys in the near, move up and try to block him.
I think it's comfort. I mean, you got to remember, you're running a lot closer to the wall, and you got guys that are not used to having these cars get out from underneath them and slide around.
There's another one.
3rd place for J.J. Yaley.
Oh, she's a pushing, Tony. Just about missed there. Kind of gave the spot back. Thing took off in a big push. You can see him bop, 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 trying to get the front end to come around.
And I've noticed watching
the 3 and 4.
The front of that car seems to bounce a little bit on entry. And once JJ figures out what he can do as a driver, how he changes his entry, whether he backs it up or uses a little less brake, he'll figure out what to do to help that out, and that'll gain some of that speed back.
Impressed with Ryan Priest. Not necessarily a dirt racer, holding his own against one of the best.
Larson, Priest, Yaley. Then Eric Jones with LaJoie and McDowell. And Priest closing on Kyle Larson. Didn't see that coming.
I don't think any of us saw that coming. I'm glad to see it coming.
Actually running faster lap times for sure.
I would say this about Kyle Larson. I think Kyle's sitting there planning, and what he's doing now, he is logging data for tomorrow night. He knows what he can do when he gets on the top. He's trying to figure out, what do I have to do in case this thing goes down to the bottom, make sure he knows exactly what his balance is so they can work on it between tonight and tomorrow night.
Well, just look at his car control. I definitely think he's working on, all those things you were talking about. He just doesn't miss. That's what makes him such a good dirt racer. You can see Ryan figuring things out, kind of entering different and rolls reverse. Watch that 5 car. It just kind of keeps the same slide all the way through the corner. Very consistent. That's all throttle control.
Ty Dillon edges ahead of this 4-car group.
Matt Crafton doing a great job to come in and fill in, no laps in these Cup cars, and to come out here to Bristol in the dirt. He's doing a great job.
Back up front.
I'm definitely impressed with Ryan Priest. I think he's capitalized, and I said earlier that Chase Briscoe, in my opinion, was the class of the field last year, had the fastest car, and it looks exactly the way Priest's did. I think they got a good setup for this racetrack in these dirt conditions.
Larry?
Yeah, teams can look at the same data that I'm looking at. And up until about 2 laps ago, Ryan Priest was shifting every lap. Kyle Larson was not shifting, going between 3rd and 4th. The minute Priest caught him, Larson as well started shifting. So both the top 2 are shifting each corner between 3rd and 4th.
Kind of a cool tell-all sign with these new cars. You can see the fire up off the corner. You see when they shift, it throws fireballs out of both sides of it.
Remember, that 41 car won the pole for this race last year with Cole Custer.
See how his car, though, Ryan Priest I'm talking about, gets in the corner. He can keep it straight. When he turns left, that car answers the call. Turns straight. See how much straighter he is around the corner? Makes a lot of grip.
Can't get much closer as the checkered flag falls over Kyle Larson, who took the lead on lap 1 and holds off Ryan Priest by barely a car length. Great run for J.J. Yaley. Started dead last, came to 3rd.
You say that about Priest coming to him that last lap. Definitely the fastest lap of the heat race was by Ryan Priest on that last lap in 1947. That's laying it down.
And that's the best thing that he could do, is be behind Kyle Larson. To sit there and learn from him.
How about Yaley?
Wow.
That's huge. You think passing points don't matter? That boy's starting 3rd. That's awesome.
And here are some of the combatants for qualifying heat number 4. If you look back at who have won the Bristol Dirt Races, 2021, Truex in trucks, Logano in Cup, Ben Rhodes, Kyle Busch in Cup, 3 of the 4 in this heat race. And the fellows known as the Dirt Track Diggers have not prevailed here in the Cup race at Bristol, but they've been there with maybe a lap or a half a lap to go, in position to win it. Couldn't quite seal the deal.
I think you're right, Mike. They haven't won. There's obviously, you're right there, but it's just because they keep wrecking each other. They clean that up. Somebody's bound to win this thing.
Look at Joey's heart rate lower left, just in hot laps.
Just hot laps. Well, I'll give him credit. He went straight to the top. He wasn't tiptoeing around it. He went right up there and dug his heels in.
Well, if his was 146, Kyle's had to have been, what was it, 90? In his interview, he was not very excited about this. I don't know. This has all the recipe to be interesting getting into one. You got a guy on the outside pole, basically never been in a Cup car, ever. Bubba's going to be very aggressive. And you got Suarez that was extremely fast in that second row, and Ty Gibbs on the outside of him that's really aggressive. And they all just watched Larson pass the whole field in the first corner. I love it.
See Davenport getting way up there in that loose dirt, trying to see how much grip there is in it.
Logano ran that truck, won his heat race in a truck. I think you keep your eye on him. Opportunity here for him. He needs to pass up through this heat race, and this baby stack is going to be hard for him to do.
So which is the taller task? Adapting to these cars or adapting to this surface?
Yeah.
Well, it depends on if you're Bubba Wallace or if you're Jonathan Davenport, because Jonathan's used to these surfaces. Bubba's not. But Bubba's used to these cars. Jonathan's not.
Yeah, I think definitely adapting, it has to be the car, right? I mean, being in something you never drove before, but again, we just watched Kyle Larson do the same thing to him. I mean, he races some late models, but he darn sure it didn't come from a late model background. Showed up against the best and put it on him pretty good.
Our lights are out on the pace truck. 15 laps. The number to hit is 15. That is the high mark right now on finishing and passing points. Bubba Wallace, Jonathan Davenport. Here we go.
Not a very good start for Bubba. Got off the corner well, off of 2. Comes a run from Kyle Busch on the bottom, thought better of it. Logano already up through him.
One off to 22 outside door 54.
Logano from 8th to 5th.
That 8 car, different driver in it, but was obviously very, very fast last year. You know, they have a good setup. His teammate Austin Dillon was fast in his heat race. And here he comes. There he goes on the inside of Davenport.
Kyle got a good launch off turn 2. Put him in this position for second.
Oh, they get into one another.
Cindric on the outside against his teammate. Here's that contact.
I think Jonathan just kind of squared the exit up a little bit, and Kyle was coming up off the bottom, just met in the middle.
He definitely took his line away.
McCulloch Racing making it interesting here with this third car for dirt track late model ace Jonathan Davenport.
I'm impressed with Bubba Wallace. Fantastic. He struggled. Didn't necessarily like this last year and has really found his own and finding a good groove here. Holding a pretty wheel.
His line looks a lot like Ryan Blaney's in the second heat.
Yeah, the car looks a little bit free on entry and kind of does the same thing. He gets the right rear caught up, gets back in the power, and gets a good drive off.
This kind of goes right back to that first one. That bottom groove is definitely the name of the game. It's kind of back blowing on that outside, getting those marbles up there. You see Logano trying to get to the outside, but just loses a lot of grip through the middle and up off the corner. And ahead of
Carrying the
him,
most entry into highest. No pressure by 10. 7 complete. 8 to go.
Ahead of them, Cindric has climbed to 4th.
once it locks down on that bottom, Tony, pretty much the way to go.
And we talked about it early in the show. Look at the color. You start seeing that gray come in. If it gets really gray and gets black across there, then you got to start looking for it to go the other way. If it gets tan, then it's getting abrasive. And that's something we won't see tonight, but we will focus on that for tomorrow.
Suarez around.
Turn 2. And we're still green. Nope, caution.
Caution.
Yellow here.
He was
Yellow.
struggling. Was off the pace quite a bit. Got down in 1 and spun. He was probably 8, 9 car lengths off of the field. You see him back here in the back and then just loses it in 1 and 2 by himself.
You're assuming back there he's moved around to a different spot of the racetrack, just trying to find something that makes the car
That's
better.
the dust we're talking about blowing around, though. Sorry, Tony, didn't mean to step on you, but that's why that bottom, once it gets down to the bottom, starts blowing that on the outside, marbles. No man's land.
And pundits everywhere are saying he'll need a change after this.
Cycling the power if you can, if you have it.
There's about 1 million products on cars this weekend that we can use to do that,
That's
to accomplish that goal.
Yes.
If I'd have known there was going to be that many, I would have brought all my laundry with me.
Hey, Scott Bloomquist. Let's talk about dirt track aces.
Black sunshine.
Man has won a lot of dirt late model races in his career.
All of them.
Yeah, at some point.
If it can be won, that man did it.
Up there with Andy Petrie up on the hauler.
Such a neat guy to watch race over the years. My first dirt t-shirt had a 0 on it. Man's done a lot in the sport of dirt late model racing.
He competed here 2 years ago in the Cup race, Bristol dirt race. Well, we listened in on the 13.
I struggled coming up through the gears there. I don't know if I wasn't lifting properly or what, but on that start, I didn't do very good.
Well, he's never driven a sequential gearbox, right? Until
They're
he
always
rolled off tonight.
She's in high gear when he steps on the gas.
Okay. So that's a big difference.
Well, the good news, he gets to try again right here.
Three-time Lucas Oil late model champ, 5-time winner of the World 100, and of course the Eldora Million. They call his bank account Superman. No, he is a Superman of dirt track late model racing.
He really is. He's one of those guys that we call him a gasser in our industry, in the dirt side. I mean, he's just one of those guys that's always gassing it up. It doesn't matter. He doesn't care whether he runs the top or bottom. He'd much rather run the top, I think, anywhere than run the bottom, though.
You heard him talk about his weakness, right? He knows that he's not very good on that gearbox getting up through the gears. Now he's going to have to be. Now he's not necessarily in the good groove there. The jump is very important on that start, and if he's not careful, Busch is going to get around him on his outside.
So we want to welcome you, those of you who've been watching Major League Baseball on FS1. Cubs beat the Rangers. So Kyle Larson has maxed out on finish points. He won his heat, and bonus points for passing cars.
On these restarts, for whatever reason, the momentum definitely goes to the outside.
Back to green with 6 laps to go in this 4th.
There it is.
Qualifying
we're talking
heat.
about. Busch is going to have to get down though pretty quick. Didn't do it.
Didn't
He's
do
in
it?
trouble.
Yeah, but Kyle's been running a lot of dirt. I mean, he's been racing with his son Braxton with the mini sprints. He knows his way around a dirt track too.
He's holding his own out there. He's way high, almost higher than where that stuff was blowing, kind of up into the cushion. Oh, Davenport missed. Cindric gets under him. Now he's got him on both sides.
Kyle Busch to second, Cindric to third, Davenport up high trying to hold on here.
Here they come.
Ty Gibbs to the inside.
teammate of the Childress camp here. Saw Austin Dillon win his first heat race, the first heat race tonight. Kyle Busch looks really strong in this 8 car.
Top clear. Second hit approach again, half off Dyson.
Cindric missed the bottom a little bit there. Got a good exit though, very good exit. I'm super impressed with Bubba Wallace. That's a big turnaround for him. It's got to be a huge confidence booster, and I can't help but to think Reddick in that other car, as strong as he was last year and as strong as he was in his heat race, didn't have something to do with that. A lot of data there to learn from.
And this is a totally different scenario than what we see on the pavement tracks. This is not aero that's doing this. This is strictly mechanical grip that's helping these cars right now.
Well, that's a little bump and run coming in
from Joey Logano.
And almost got a twofer because he was into Ty Gibbs in front of him. Ty Gibbs got into the 13 there. I think he might end up getting them both. Going to have to get them elbows up. These passing points are very important. He knows this.
Last lap, Logano against Davenport. And Kyle Busch looking for the lead up high on Bubba Wallace. Got a good drive off turn 2.
Slide in there.
Here comes Cindric on the inside. It's going to be Bubba Wallace. Wire to wire. Kyle Busch second. Cindric third. Davenport holds off Logano for fourth. So Bubba Wallace, your heat winner from the pole. We'll come back and set the starting lineup for tomorrow night's dirt race at Bristol.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
15 finishing and passing points, wins the pole. That's Kyle Larson. Austin Dillon will join him on the front row here tomorrow night. Regan?
Well, Bubba Wallace in that final heat race looking very good out front. Started out front, finished out front, Bubba. You got a win before in 2014 in the Truck Series at Eldora. Haven't had the best luck here. Looks like that might be changing.
Yeah, we've always ran really good. We brought really good cars, really good Toyota Camrys, but just never had the luck go our way. So looking to change that. Started off nice with a heat race win there. The track was changing. I think it's in really good shape. But I went through a couple balance changes from the first run to the second run, so that makes it interesting. But I just hate that we don't get any points, extra points. We should get points for leading laps. So if we want to keep doing this show, we need to incorporate where the leader has a better incentive. So I'm starting 11th. Come on now.
Thanks, Bubba. Jamie?
And Kyle Busch there brings it home second, came from further in the field. But what'd you learn about your race car and what you have for tomorrow night there in 15 laps?
We're a little loose. You gotta turn right to go left, and I'm turning right a lot. It feels really good though. I mean, just overall net speed, we got some speed there, which was good. The Cheddar's Camaro, we can certainly work on it a little bit, make it a little bit better. Just try to get the back of the car planted on entry and exit. I mean, the center's fine, so I think that's what about everybody's going to complain about and talk about. But overall, just going from 8 to 2, that should be pretty good. I don't know where that should put us, but hopefully it's pretty good.
Looks like it's fit.
All right, that's doable. I can do it from there. So all good. Yeah, just having fun.
All right, last year's winner here at Bristol Dirt, Mike.
Thanks, Jamie. Kyle Larson, Austin Dillon will start on the front row. J.J. Yaley, I think, was the star of the night. Came from last, finished third in his heat. Passing points will put him third on the grid, next to Christopher Bell, who had the fastest lap in the 4 heats tonight.
I think there's a lot. Austin Cindric, look at him. That was a great job in his heat race. Again, Bubba Wallace, we talked about it. I know you're whining a little bit about, didn't lead any laps or anything else. That's, bad draw, but Bowman, some of these guys come in the back. Logano's going to be in this truck race tonight. Chase Briscoe is certainly going to be a favorite. Going to be interesting to watch him coming from later back in the field. But some big name drivers back in this one. Look, Harvick way back there, row 13, row 15, Denny Hamlin. Denny's going to have to listen to Kyle Busch and start having some fun here. Daniel Suarez, not a good heat race for him, was really fast last year. And then Josh Berry in the 9 car had a little bit of trouble. Look at that. Speaking of fun, that looks like a ton of fun.
That's turning right to go right.
Yeah, these are the Packer cars. They're out there to
fixing to wreck
get things ready for
I love it.
the truck
Put
race.
me in. Let's go, Tony. Let's get one of them babies.
Race day is next on FS1. And the Truck Series race on Bristol Dirt.
Dust.
8 p.m. Eastern Time tonight.
I love the spoiler.